Mr. Deepak Vora, the former diplomat, joining us this morning. Sir, a very good morning to you.
A very good morning to you, ma'am. Thank you for asking me.
This is a very big breakthrough coming in this morning, but the Hamas is only, as far as this peace point is concerned, they are only accepted in a halfway. What I wish to understand from you is, if Hamas resists or refuses, will Israel be allowed to resume or continue its military operations in Gaza?
Well, thank you very much, ma'am. Very intelligent question, as always. First, let's look at the three players. What does Donald Trump want? He wants to control Gaza and he wants to make money. Period. There's no third interest that he has. What does Israel want? There should never be a Hamas. There should never be the kind of attack that Israel had faced before. And that Hamas should be obliterated from the earth. What does Hamas want? That Israel should be obliterated from the face of the earth, and that Gaza should be totally under the control of Hamas. Now, how do you reconcile these three viewpoints? It's very nice to have newspaper headlines and to make YouTube videos and so on. I have been in that area, ma'am, over 20 years. Take my word for it. Before the ink is dry, this agreement will collapse. I don't even know if Hamas has 20 hostages. If they don't, the Israelis will turn around and say, you lied to us. The other fellows, all the other Arab states, how many of them, this 20-point peace plan, except for Pakistan, which said, what a great plan, and then promptly said, oh, sorry, we didn't mean to say that. How many of the others have welcomed it? None. Therefore, it's not going to work. Hamas may say because they're under pressure, they don't have money, their leadership is being decimated. They might turn around and say, okay, we accept. But they will not be allowed to return to Gaza. Ma'am, take it from me. They are not going to be there. It's in some ways, it's like a country, a boy who has been burnt by fire. The next time fire approaches him, he says, no way, and he'll throw water on it to douse the flames. So Israel is not going to accept any challenge to its survival. While Hamas's constitution says the Jews have no right to exist. How do you reconcile these two viewpoints? You can have a two-state policy. You remember, ma'am, there used to be one united country called India, and then the two-state theory came on the basis of religion, and Pakistan was created. Have they given up their hostility, their hatred, their venom towards India? No, they haven't. So do you expect Hamas to give up overnight its attitude towards Israel? As we say in Urdu, हमने देखी है हमास की हकीकत लेकिन दिल के खुश रखने को गालिब ये ख्याल अच्छा है. So the chances of success of this plan -0.
Right. So taking your point forward, you talked about the collapse of this plan. But in the event this collapses, what are the real risks lingering?
Absolutely. Again, brilliant question. The risk is none. The risk is that Israel will do what it has to, throw the Palestinians out of Gaza, tell the world, look, we gave them a chance, they haven't done anything, and then ask all the Islamic world who keep screaming Palestine, 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 why don't you take these guys? After Jordan's experience in the late 60s and in 1970, Black September, not one, I repeat, not one Muslim country wants the Palestinians. So what's going to happen is exactly what happened a month ago. The Israelis will bomb whatever they have to bomb, what is left of Gaza, clean it out, make it flat earth, and then Shri Donald Trump will build his Riviera and make a lot of money, and that property will be sold. As long as there is security there, which only Israel can provide. Nobody can provide security in that area. So once we accept that reality, ma'am, you can see that there is no risk except to the Palestinians.
All right, Mr. Vora, thank you so much for your input. It was a pleasure having you. Now, CNN News 18's Rahul Shivshankar also joins us live this morning. Rahul, a very good morning to you. It's a big breakthrough coming in. How do you read into this?
Well, clearly, there has been a mediated settlement, and you saw that many rounds of diplomacy went into it. President Trump, in fact, met with Prime Minister Netanyahu just a few days ago and emphasized that there was a very, very important moment here in this dialogue process, and that this particular moment could lead to a lasting, durable peace. Of course, these terms can be used loosely, but durable peace can only come fundamentally if you actually have the terms that are agreed upon completely obeyed to the last letter. Now, will that happen? We don't know. We'll have to actually see if that is possible. Right now, the intent seems to be clear on both sides. The Hamas looks as if it is committed to at least meeting Israel halfway in this process. It's a long haul towards normalcy because it will require, of course, a huge amount of rehabilitation of the region and of the people. Now, there are certain areas which are still gray. For example, who is going to actually administer this particular land area? What is the agreed upon line? Will everyone withdraw to those lines? Will the sovereignty of the Gaza Strip, as well as the other parts, the West Bank, be immediately adhered to by the Israelis? Remember, there's still a large number of settlers in the West Bank and certain other territories, and they will have to perhaps move out. Will that be actually happening as per the timeline? So this process is a long and tortuous one. There's a 20-point plan. The first 5 or 6 points are relatively easy, but they will determine in a great sense whether the two sides actually trust each other to go ahead and implement the other 15 points of this Gaza peace plan. Getting in aid, releasing the hostages, these are all quantifiable and measurable. For every particular dead, for example, person who the Hamas releases hostage, the Israelis have to release 15 Gazan bodies. There have also been an agreed upon number of hostages that the Hamas has to release, and also, of course, number of prisoners that have to be freed in a particular kind of ratio. All of those things are measurable, so you can always judge intent by actually looking at those numbers minutely. It's terrible to talk about the dead in statistical terms, but that's what this plan does. And it is practical. The second aspect about getting in a huge amount of aid that will be required for the rehabilitation, and also, of course, nutrition and so on and so forth. As you know, a lot of the food aid that was sent into the Gaza Strip was hijacked by Hamas operatives first. The Hamas has made it a business to basically agglomerate, to capture over the years all the investment that has come into Gaza and use it to build the terror infrastructure that it was sort of leveraging over Israel. As you saw, maximum development took place underground. All that money that came in was used to make all sorts of tunnels, rooms, acquire weapon systems, this, that, the other. Nothing happened on top. Gaza, the ordinary life of the ordinary Gazan remained pretty much stuck where it was 30 years back. There was hardly any development. You saw that there was very little infrastructure that was built to cater to the burgeoning population. Over the years, the population has burgeoned in the Gaza Strip. And now, of course, it's a huge mass of mangled concrete and steel. You can see some of those pictures over the last few months where the war really intensified and the Israelis carpet-bombed intensely different parts of Gaza. And those are the pictures there, very clearly visible on the screen, of a very, 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 very pulverized Gaza Strip. All of that will now take years to rebuild. And of course, there is an entire plan that Trump has sort of agreed to, setting up all sorts of investment companies, et cetera, to bring in that money owned by the Gazans and operated by the Gazans. But the fundamental question is, who's going to govern Gaza? As of now, the PA, which is the Palestinian Authority, has been confined to the West Bank. Gaza has been ruled by the Hamas, as you know, which usurped power in 2006. So since then, there have been no elections really that are worth calling elections and representatives. So you have had these issues. It's a long haul, but it is a very, very positive beginning. Back to you.
All right, Mr. Shivshankar, thank you so much for shedding light, especially on the aspect of reconstruction of Gaza. And with that, we slip into a very short break. Don't